This is Oskimi again to another installation of weekly updates, or Observations with Otsu as I call it. If you're new to this channel, I have a 12-week bootcamp masterclass coming up called Apex Academy. Apex Academy stands for Aroon, Price Action and Exponential Strategies, or Trend Momentum Based Strategies. And I'm going to teach these three strategies in combination with each other, how they flow together, how they play off one another, and how you can try to gauge what might be the most optimal strategy for that time, because not every strategy works at every time. I'm going to leave a link down in the description that you can fill out for a form. It's going to have 3 strategies that I'm going to be teaching on. I'm going to have 52 or more, but at least 52 hours of video content available, to about 4 or 5 per week. Half of those are going to be pure education based. I'm also going to be doing live backtesting strategies for you and live trades for you. And it's also going to include 4 Aroon bots, all of which that I've made. A lot of this is going to be hinging upon the Aroon strategies and advanced Aroon tactics. So if you want to look for more of an edge, or if you're interested in the Aroon strategies themselves, this is your go-to. A link to the form in the description. Make sure you put your Discord username in there. I've had a lot of people sign up, and they signed up with maybe a Telegram username or not a complete Discord username, so I may not be able to sign them. I've got very few spots left. I got about 3 or 4 spots left, so I'm expecting those to get filled in this week, if not, within a day or two. So just be mindful of that. So that being said, that's going to probably start in December. Probably take a week off for Christmas, and then continue that in the quarter 1 of 2023. So that being said, let's get started here. All right, first thing we're going to do, we're going to look at the total market cap, and we're going to go to the weekly time frame. This is pretty typical of what we look at. So as we know, 2 weeks ago, technically, as far as candlesticks go, this was the week that we had the FTX fallout, left a bearish engulfing. This is very bad in terms of quite a few things, not just in a price action, but also for the market as a whole. There's a lot of distrust right now in a lot of central exchanges, and there's good reason to be. I'm not going to lie about that. And a lot of people are going to dexes like Uniswap or wallets, and honestly, that you should anyway. This is something where you really need to be in full control of your risk management and your security and your assets, because if you don't, you're not going to have any money to trade in the future. So had that happen, we had kind of a mediocre, a bearish week last week, but not too exciting. We tried to pump, it got faded, and I think that's pretty evident of the market right now. I think generally speaking, unless we get a big move, whether it's this or Bitcoin or Ethereum or any coins, pumps are really fadeable at this time. Not that you should always do that, but that's kind of my expectation, unless we make a significant higher low, or change of strength, change of momentum, or change of anything. I'm not trying to be fearful and doubtful, and I'm not fearful and doubtful. I've got great things to say about this space. I think we're going to recuperate and have all-time highs sometime in the next 1 to 2 years, but it's just not today, and that's okay. Lower prices end up making better opportunities to buy. So I got bids down low, and some of you might as well. Aroon got the nice bullish wedge coming up, but we have no reaction, so this is creating a divergence. This will confirm a divergence on the Aroon if this closes, and we still got a whole week left, so that's if this closes bearish, by the way. So closes bullish and validates, because the bullish wedge is expected to, so the bullish consolidation is from here to here. Once this blue line hits, probably should raise this up here, the consolidation is the blue line going down, The wedge is when it flatlines. Once it flatlines, it has one candle, or technically two candles, but this is one, this is two. So once this candle closes, and if it closes bearish, that creates a divergence. What that's telling me is that the trend is trending too far in the opposite direction, and not that it should or shouldn't. I'm not going that far, but like the expectation of the trend is not, or the actual trend that's happening is not what the expected trend should be. So eventually, that should rubber band back up, but that could be 2 months away. So that's hard to really make a judgment call on the weekly time frame. We also have on the 2 week kind of and it's kind of a crappy divergence, but it is there. So we got that going on. We got another wedges here. I mentioned in my private Telegram that this looks awfully a lot like the Wall Street cheat sheet, particularly with Bitcoin. So that's one thing to consider as well. My top thesis for now is that we'll go maybe something like this, and then we'll go down again. That's just a guess. I like to do more analysis, which that's what I do on Wednesdays, by the way. So if you're interested in more of a long form analysis, on Wednesdays I cover about an hour-long video called Casual Crypto and Coffee. I let my followers pick the type of coffee that I'm going to drink for the day, and I just sip some 1 or 2 cups of coffee while I cover the charts, and I talk about the coffee that I have. I bought a collection set from Onyx Coffee Lab Roasters that's based in the Midwest, and they're very good coffee. I bought that for the holidays. I'm a big Christmas guy, so kind of enjoying my Christmas holiday season with coffee, and I'm sharing that with you guys. So if you want something more long form, my Casual Crypto and Coffee is on Wednesdays. So with that being said, we'll go to the daily. We have the drop down, and then we have a fade. So that's not a good sign, right? And it's very common with something like this here. So I'm not really, and that's one of the things, like the big news events like this should have been bullish, because this is a bullish consolidation turning wedge, or turned into a wedge, and currently we're right at break even. So that's not a good sign. This is actually a valid, technically the price did close upward. So if we started here at this candle, I mean, yeah, we got like 1%. So technically that's kind of a crappy scenario, but that is a valid bullish consolidation. The idea is that the consolidation is not supposed to be greater than the fall down, so which it wasn't. That's why it's a consolidation and not an expansion. So that being said, this looks like it's primed to go lower, honestly. I won't cover any lower time frames on the total. I'll cover that with like Bitcoin and some of these other assets. Go back to the weekly on Bitcoin. Oh, that was just a joke, actually. So let's see. Let's actually change to a different chart. All right. So same thing. FTX fallout. Kind of a, really not sure what that is. Just a terrible candle close. We tried to reach up, tried to go lower. We pretty much at a standstill. So far, we're dropping. Like I said, still got pretty much all week yet. Same bullish consolidation. Not a wedge yet. So there's some potential in there. But it should be consolidating. But we will see. There's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Like real FUD. Like this is the first time. Even somebody like me who doesn't normally get emotional or scared in the market is. I'm like, yeah, I need to get my assets off centralized exchanges, and it's real. That's the sign of the market getting really low, and it's one of those things like that Wall Street cheat sheet, for example. The certain phases like complacency or anger or denial. I'm saying I'm out of order, but then there's like depression. Like those things are supposed to be felt basically for 99.9% of all people. Like yeah, some of the it should even affect some of the OGs. Like that's how bad it should get. And right now, this is affecting a lot of OGs. Some OGs lost all their money, or they are scared they can't trade, or they have their funds locked up. So almost every single person probably, like if you haven't been affected by any fallouts this year by FTX or Genesis, that's supposed to have some more news out tomorrow maybe. Luna, 3AC, Voyager, Celsius. I don't know how many more are beyond that, but if you haven't been affected by any of them, then you're probably in the top 1% already. I didn't get affected by any of them except for Genesis, and the Genesis one really caught me off guard. But I didn't get affected too much. I did get affected by FTX, but because I own Sol, which I'll get to, which is probably going to head to zero. And I had a bag of Sol, and I lost 50% of that bag, and that's okay. I can recover that in a trade. But that being said, that's just how it is. If you haven't got affected, I congratulate you, but we can all go forward together with this. So, one thing that I can kind of tell, we had this big thing from before, dropped down below. I was bullish, honestly. So, I don't want to necessarily say, well, because of FTX, I'm not going to blame FTX on my mistake necessarily. Like, it wasn't a mistake, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to, throw excuses out there. You always kind of want to make yourself better and better over time, and you're not going to win every trade. So went down here. This is a bearish breaker, so this will eventually get retested, and when it does, that's more of breakers. When they become breakers, they get retested as continuations typically, not as breaks. So what I mean by that is we broke down below. We could go like this and then here, but that doesn't mean because we come back here we're going to go up. What that means is this is usually a retest confirmation tool or area, which is usually at the beginning of the candle. So you might see something like this and then go back down. Maybe. I'm not, obviously we're not going to $23, but you see what I'm saying? Like, those are more continuation based. So what you really want to see, let's see here, is, you might see something like this. You kind of want this to break like above this level here and then retest again, something like that. You want to wait until this area gets touched here. This is your buy zone on a macro level. That's just an example. I'm not saying wait to buy or nothing like that. That's just, this breaker is a continuation retest pattern until proven otherwise. So already covered Aroon. The awesome oscillators kind of giving some signs that this divergence, which is on the 2-week, could play out. But we still got plenty of time to figure that out. It's pretty rough, but I'd wait for a bigger confirmation, and I'll explain that later. But this is somewhat okay. Let's see, can we do a fib here? I mean, this spot is half of this space here, from the top of here to the bottom of this, not really order block, but kind of almost like a really high time frame swing high order block, like a SHOB. Which that's what I'll teach, what SHOBs and slobs and advanced order blocks. I'll teach those in Apex Academy as well. So this is a good opportunity maybe, but having a big bearish reaction to Monday, because we are expected to get some information about Grayscale, about Genesis, about Digital Currency Group, things like that. So we'll see how that goes. So far, the fear is in full force. So long-term targets. You may have seen it out here. I'll just show you. I haven't been hiding this. You know, I bought it here at 16.2, planning to buy it at 13.7, you know, and down there. So, and you know, I've got the capital to dispose of it. So, and we'll see. I'm not saying I'll buy there necessarily, but those are the alerts that I got set for significant plans. So, going to the daily, same thing as the total. Fading this, not a good sign. Nothing really too much to say. We're just kind of floating around, and this looks pretty depressing. Let's go back to the Coinbase chart though, because this is a little bit reminiscent to here. And this was, you know, I got my start like here, like, but and it's crazy that we might be visiting these levels, and we're already visiting these levels again. Like, we're already right here. It's crazy to think that when I first started, even 5-6 years ago, Bitcoin's the same price today, and that's very depressing for a lot of OGs. But we can see here is like this pattern. It got kind of illiquid. I think I was very naive, and I think I longed this area here. But we broke down. But you can see, like, let's say let's do a replay and just go like here, you know. So like, what would you do right here? Like, obviously we know in hindsight, right? But oh, this has changed here. So let's play. So let's say, you know, we drop down, and now we're just kind of floating. So this is very reminiscent. Let's see. Very reminiscent of current price action, right? So like we had this kind of structure here, kind of the same generic structure. We thought this would hold, didn't hold. Now we're just kind of floating around, right? So that's something to consider. I used to think this was very comparable to the 2015 market. Now I'm starting to think this is more like the 2018. And you know, it's not always going to compare to the same markets before. So play this out. So then we had another drop, right? So like I said, you guys know how this plays out. Actually, I think when this dropped, I think I actually gave up on crypto for like 2 months. But like, what do you do here, right? So like, your instinct is, and with, you know, there's no level here, I don't think. I mean, we passed through these big levels, and we just passed through this level, right? So I mean, you could have made an argument maybe for the half, and that's kind of where it was. So, but you could have did that. You could have long there, and we know in hindsight that would have been a good trade. But in foresight, that's kind of a gamble, right? So that's kind of where we're at. We're just kind of floating around right now, and it is what it is. You know, it's not, you're not going to do anything wrong by just maybe waiting even to come up a little bit. And if we keep playing this out, you know, it went down anyway. So it went down below, retested bearish, right? So we did kind of a divergence right there. I mean, the RSI was pretty good. I mean, obviously in hindsight, we know that this is a good trade right here. But again, went through the mid, got the retest, and then it went back up again. And then we went down below. So it's like, if you would have bought there, you probably would have sold when you got here. But we had the big divergence. So these are keys to look for. One, you had a massive divergence here, and this is much more available to see, I think, on a higher time frame. I'm not going to change the replay just yet. Another thing is that we had a very high volume play here, another one here, and another one here. But one thing we noticed is that this was a high volume, and these two were low volumes. This one was technically higher than this. But if you have a lower low like this, but then your volume is also the same, that's a sign that it is going to bounce. Excuse me. And then you also had this divergence as well. So that would have probably been your sign to long, in my opinion. Now, again, that's not easy to say because that's very risky. I don't know if I would long. I'd probably just put high time frame spot, especially since how far it was from the bottom. And again, you look like a genius in hindsight, right? So, roughly 82 to 83 from the bottom. Look like a genius in hindsight.